Yes. So first of all, man, I commend you.
Yeah.
It's like super commendable, bro. Like, and it's admirable because an individual at your age to be able to grasp the understanding and the realization of what it is that you were going to and what it is that you were going through,
Yeah.
and to have it on your heart to give back. And we go through experiences, right? And that's how we mature and that's how we grow,
100%.
right? So if we could give that type of insight and that perspective from the vantage point that we're standing at now to individuals that are finding themselves where we have been, simply amazing, bro. Simply amazing. So my hat's off to you, bro. That's
Thank you. Like, even to you, like, thank you for sitting down with me and taking me seriously and kind of helping me out as well.
Yeah, for sure. So a little backstory on me.
Yeah.
We had some relativity, entrepreneur mindset, right? But just directed in the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
So my energy was in a negative aspect because I sold crack cocaine when I was 12 years old. I was in a gang, so that's the first thing that we that's how we gained income for our homeboys, right?
Yeah.
So then I started selling weed at like 13, 14, cocaine, powder cocaine, and that kind of thing. Got into trouble when I was about 15-ish. So I totally understand where it is that if we can initiate or address the issue before it continues to tumble into something greater, like from my experience, I got in trouble whenever I was young, and then I didn't get caught selling drugs. So it just gave me like a right of, like, I don't know, like the right to just go ahead and continue to sell drugs, right? But my behavior that I portrayed due to selling drugs was that of like aggressive, very aggressive. So like if you owed me money or anything like that, like and you didn't give me my money, then I was gonna act out on that. You know what I'm saying? So what comes with the selling drugs, right? So fast forward, I recently have been released from the penitentiary. I'm like 11 days out.
Oh, wow.
Right now. Going to the penitentiary was the biggest blessing in disguise that I didn't see. I didn't foresee. Whenever I went to prison, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to prison. Yeah. But it on the other side of that, it's been amazing. It was amazing, right? So I went to school. I got a little bit of college underneath my belt, and PEP invited me to join their program. So initially I was like, why am I going to go and join PEP for? Yeah. Prison Entrepreneurship Program. I'm going to a free world college right now to get a degree. And I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just go for the networking. Yeah. Right? So on the inside, whenever I initially got there to the unit and got into the program, I thought it was going to be about business. And it is. But just like they say, they use the business vehicle in order to help steer character development, right? So then I sat back and I thought about that exact, like, okay, what is it? So then I grasped the concept. I was like, okay, well, yeah, in a professional setting, what do you have to act? You have to act accordingly, right? So well-mannered and that kind of thing. So I understood it. Went through the class, learned a lot about entrepreneurship. I was the CEO of my idea, Refusion. It was a water fusion bar. Wow. So you have coffee bars, you have tea bars, you have hookah bars, you have, obviously bars that sell liquor. You even have some things called oxygen bars. But what we don't see or hear of is a water bar. Ever. Nowhere. It's like, so that was my idea. You have like distilled water, carbonated water, and mineral water, and you could infuse it with essential oils, 100% organic essential oils, and 100% organic fruits and vegetables, along with minerals and vitamins. Yeah. So that was my idea. I was a CEO, so we learned about business plans, how to compile business plans, and then pitch them to the executives. And so they gave us a lot of feedback, a lot of insight on the business world. But what I started noticing is that a lot of guys were like being removed from the program, right? And I was like, okay, well, why is it that they're being removed from the program? So it was about the character development. It was like, hey, you know what? This is something that we're turning from the lifestyle, a stigma of being in the penitentiary, the smoking, the drug usage, the gang banging, and that kind of thing. So I clung on to it even more because I was like, hey, this is something that I, I, I lied to myself for a long time and said that I didn't need PEP. But in all actuality, I do need PEP because it's that structure of accountability, right? To have the integrity to be say, hey, you know what? I'm I can't do this by myself. And I'm not strong enough a lot of times by myself. So I need to lean on my brothers when I'm going in, through an emotional or a mental, roller coaster. So uh, then I went through the class. Then we become servant leaders. So basically, it's a peer-driven program. So we give back. The curriculum is taught by us, the entrepreneurship book, and then I became the peer educator, the Intel peer educator. So um, definitely, I don't know how they told you about the 10 driving values.
I've seen it on the website. And
Yeah, so 10 driving values, right? So we do servant leader mentality. So that's basically, in essence, is we serve to lead others to help them succeed. And it's exactly that. Like when you're a servant leader and a peer educator like myself, you definitely have to not only talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to be that living example on a daily basis. You got to be that light, that beacon, and like, hey, you know what? This is what we're striving for. Um, so I recently got out 11 days ago, and the only reason why I came down here is because my addresses got denied for parole.
Oh wow.
So I had to fall back on PEP, the transition house. Now the transition from prison out here now, right now, has been super amazing. I mean, the support, it's it's amazing. I mean, whenever you get out, the reentry team, they do a phenomenal job. I mean, you get, clothing and all kinds of things, man. It's really cool. So how is it over there? Like,
Over there, so like, I don't know if you've been in prison. My friend recently, he came out of prison like a couple months ago, and
mhm,
it's very similar, but you actually leave prison with like I think £100 a week,
mhm,
so around $100 a week, and you don't really get housing. There's no like halfway house.
mhm.
You've basically got to rely on your network and who you have, and a lot of people do end up homeless. They are put on like a housing list, but that's very like it's very long, like
Right,
it
right,
takes you
right.
years. And to be honest, a lot of people, because the sentences are so short and a lot of people getting involved are very young, they just go back to their old ways. Do you know what I mean? And they're
Yeah,
still around the same people,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah, man. That's basically the whole the. I think that's the issue. Like in a lot of places, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? There's just not enough resources. You know what I'm saying? Programs. So like one of the things that I would tell the guys whenever they would get onto the unit because we're different units along in the state of Texas.
okay,
So we're only located in two units for the program for PEP.
yeah,
So whenever they would arrive on the unit, I was basically their first initial point of contact. So when
okay,
they get there, so these guys are coming from like close custody, super gang banging, smoking K2, all kinds of things, right? And I would I would I would tell them, so like this is not just any other program in Texas Department of Criminal Justice, because if we were like any other program, then we'd be on every other unit, just like any other program. But we're not. We're only in two units in the state of Texas, and from my understanding, we're in only two units in the nation. So we definitely set ourselves apart. So there's a standard, there's an expectation whenever it comes to to being a part of this. Is it? It's challenging. Like going through the class period is
yeah.
challenging. I mean, there's tests. We take tests online, or not online, but on the computer. There's a lot of we do Toastmasters. Have you heard about Toastmasters?
What's that?
Toastmasters. So Toastmasters is a I'm not quite sure if I think it's a class.
Is it?
So it's like hear he toast. So you do speeches, and basically what it does is it helps you to be able to speak in front of a crowd or one on one per
Ah,
se. So it's like well noted. Like it's pretty,
yeah,
yeah, it's pretty cool. So PEP gives not only character development, but the entrepreneurship, about the business side of things. But it gives you tools to be able to, like, just, I think in today's age, you got to be able to speak in front of people. You know what I mean? So this Toastmasters, if you were having an interview with an employer,
Yeah.
then if you're looking away and you're shying away, just your demeanor and your body language is going to be like, hey, you know what, this guy's not very interested, or just, I mean, it can say a multitude of things. So what we do is we're conditioned to be able to get on a stage and say, hey, hi, how are you doing? My name is Robert Gill. This is my business plan. This is what I hope to do. This is my marketing strategies. This is my financial aspects. This is how so it helps us with confidence. There's a brother of ours that he had a speech impediment. He stuttered a lot.
Oh wow.
Right. So going through Toastmasters, he almost lost his stuttering because he gained the confidence to be able to speak in front of people. And so I asked him, I said, so why would you stutter in the first place? He's like, because I was just didn't have the confidence. I didn't know what I was going to say. So with doing the Toastmasters thing, he's like, look, man, now I got the confidence. I know what it is that I'm speaking about. And I go out there and I perform when I need to. So it's super cool, man. PEP's amazing. Um, I definitely agree. Like housing and stuff like that's not cool if they just put you on a waiting list. You know what I mean?
No, there's a big housing like crisis in the UK.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's kind of everywhere, and the government are kind of trying to solve it, but
Yeah.
there is a lot that could be done.
So as far as like, so whenever they get out of prison, they don't have nothing like this over there.
Nothing like this, no. They have like kind of there's a lot of programs inside the prison,
Mhm.
but a lot of them are like money grabs. So like a lot of them are just, oh, we're gonna just sell this to the prison
Yeah.
and make money from it, and
Right.
that's it. We don't
So basically getting money from somebody sitting in the seat.
basically,
Right.
yeah, and that's how
Completely,
they're
yeah.
not really genuine, and they're built by people that just want to make money. That's it, and they're not actually passionate about it. But yeah, like just you, like the way you're talking, you just seem so educated. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's crazy, like to think this program brought you to this stage, and
Right.
that's
Yeah.
just amazing, man.
So yeah, it's definitely, man. Look, it's for someone to come from. I'm very fortunate, right?
Yeah.
But we have some brothers that they have even worse backgrounds, right? And I've seen the growth within the 4 month period that they go through the class,
Mm.
and it's simply amazing. Whenever their families come in and they go through the graduation, they go and they walk the stage, but their their growth as far as like the maturity, and because they come from some rough places,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And whenever they come, what I tell them, I said, man, you got to make a conscious decision on what it is that you're trying to do in your life. And I personally believe I wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now if I didn't believe in what PEP is all about. Like, I'm super sold, right? Because like me and you both, we come from a place and we don't want to look back, right? Like we just want to keep moving forward.
100%.
And that's what this allows me to do. This allows me to be the man that I was intended to be. You know what I mean? Without any of the extra stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's super amazing, man. I like.
Okay. Could I ask you some questions about
Sure.
like the whole process, and so like, do you know like the initial stage where you got your invite? Was it through the mail? Like, how did you get that? What did it look like?
Yeah, it was in the mail. And basically just said, hey, you know what? If this is, you know, we're reaching out to you and we're sending you an invitation. If you would like to accept it, then contact us for an application. So it was kind of, for me, it was interesting because I'm like, okay, so you're sending me an invitation, but then you're telling me to contact you for an application. Why didn't you just send the application in the initial stage? Like, if you want me to go,
Yeah.
or if you're inviting me to go, then why didn't you send the application? But I understood it afterwards because they're like, okay, we're inviting you. We'll extend this towards you, but you got to make the decision if you actually want to.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then you go through a little process, which is like the leadership academy,
Yeah.
and so it's a packet, and they got a bunch of questions, and they want to know what it is and what you're about and what you've been through, and to be quite honest, it's like I gotta go through all of this
Okay.
but they do that. The process is it's prolonged. I believe is because it's gonna take some time. You're gonna have to sit down. You're gonna have to read it. You're gonna have to answer the questions. You're gonna have to send it back,
Mm.
and then it's gonna come back with some more. So it's a process. Some individuals they'll weed themselves out because they're like, you know what, this is too much. I'm not gonna do it.
I agree.
But at the same time, it's one of those questions like, do you really want something like this? Do you want to be a part of something like this? So I understand the process now.
Do you think they do it because they get so many applications and they want to kind of narrow people down to like really, really want to do it, or
Uh, I, I think so. I think so. But it's good though.
yeah,
It's good because when you're focused on one thing, right? When you're focused on success, we try to generate and cultivate a healthy environment, a healthy space. So PEP has created this space already. So we're focused on success. When you have individuals or people that come into this space that are not going the same way that we're all going, then we're getting like pushback. It's friction. It's friction, right? So I understand the weeding out, like you say. Okay, well, do they do this because they want to kind of weed out some people? Yeah, most definitely. Because if you're focused on that, then you're not focused on this. You kind of get what I'm
I
saying?
know what you mean. I
Yeah.
know exactly
So
what you
yeah.
mean.
So then, like I said, me being a peer educator, if there was somebody that was using drugs or smoking or gang banging or whatever, I would first initially approach them and say, hey, look, how are you mentally, emotionally? Is there anything that I can help you with? Because that's my job.
Yeah.
If I call you my brother, then I'm going to say, hey, you know what's going on? Can we do something about this, right? Can we redirect this thing? But then if you just continuously want to do what it is that you want to do, and you're not done with that, then I'm going to try to, you're not right for what we got going on. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying. So like I said, it falls back to that thing. Like, well, if we're not focused on success and we're focused on what it is that he's doing, he should already, like a man, already made a decision. Like, hey, you know what? This is where I want to go. And if you just if you're not doing that, if you're not living that way, then we got to focus on this over here.
That makes sense. Yes, keeping it focused.
Right. So the accountability. So for one of these programs, man, if you were gonna, if this is something that you actually want to jumpstart, and that's what you want to do over there, integrity and accountability. But it has to be out of love, right? So I don't know how it is that you're gonna structure this or whatever, right? I don't know. They have a lot of things going on, the organization, right? I'm a part of PP, but I come from the inside of where it's all. If it wasn't for us, then this wouldn't exist, right?
100%.
Right. So my personal opinion, if this is something you're going to do, you got to make sure that you're creating the space that you desire. What is it that this program that you want to base, what is it going to be based on? Are you going to just come in, it's going to be watered down, or are you actually dealing with some individuals that are making this conscious decision to make a change and live the right way? And if they're not, you have to definitely address that, like, in the initial stages, because if not, then the integrity of the program and the worth and the value of it, I think people are gonna question it. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, okay, well, I mean, he's just letting people just do whatever it is that they want in there. Ain't nothing different. You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes this different, and it makes it all well worth it, is because you see a multitude of individuals that come from a place. but that are at another place now. You know, they've been somewhere and now they're somewhere else. And I think that's why it's so intriguing. That's why that's valuable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So definitely, if this is something you're gonna do, like the initial the selection process
Yeah, yeah.
definitely has to be like, hey, make it extensive. You know what I'm saying? Like try to see somebody's heart through the process. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? Is this something that I really want to grab a hold of? You know what I mean?
That makes sense,
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't think of it like that, but
yeah.
I'm definitely
Be-
gonna apply that.
because if not, people are just gonna be like, okay, well, it's a free ride. I'm gonna get the resources. I'm gonna get the benefits, but I can still do what I want to do.
Right.
Right? And that's
You're right.
something that you don't. That's something that you don't want to do, because we got these transitional houses, right? So we got these individuals that are in there and they're wanting to do some things. But if we allow them to live amongst us, then now they're putting us in danger.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because maybe they're wanting to do some drugs or wanting to do this. So you definitely have to be selective with the process of the individuals that you want to participate in this program for sure.
Amazing. Like I didn't even think of that. I actually overlooked that. I was thinking, okay, we'll get anyone that needs help into it, and then
Yeah.
we'll figure it the rest out later.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
I think that's just going to take a lot of time,
yeah,
and time and resources. You you don't want to you don't want to burn yourself out at the same time. You know what I mean? You want to make it count, because time is of the essence, and that's one of the things that we can never get back. You know what I mean? So yeah, time and attention to the ones that want to spend time and attention with you. You know what I mean?
that
Like,
makes sense.
yeah.
And do you know like more about like, the curriculum and the topics? Like, what did you learn? Like, how big was the curriculum? Was it like lengthy, or was it manageable, or was it?
Yeah. So I was going to college, right?
Okay.
Um, on another unit,
Yeah.
and I was in a faith-based dorm. So I was programming like Monday through Friday. I was going through faith-based dorm classes, and I was going to college, while still going to work from like 6 in the morning till like 12 p.m. Right, and working out. When I came to PEP and I went through the class, it's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. You're reading like six. Let me see. True North Entrepreneurship. You're reading like 4 to 5 chapters in 3 different books. You're you're conducting like 2 speeches a week. You're testing 1, 2, 3 times a week. Yeah, so it's interesting.
And are the tests about the book?
Yes, yes, for sure.
Okay, to
Yeah.
make sure you're reading it.
Right.
Wow.
Okay. So before, recently, just very recently, they would the office would make the tests and they would shoot them over into the prison,
Yeah.
right? And there would just be some questions, and we make some PowerPoints. So in my class, whenever I was taking the test, we were able to memorize the answers to these questions.
Okay.
Okay, so we would memorize, go and take the test. If I could remember what was it that I studied, then I would pass.
Mm.
Okay, that's paper tests. Now they're doing it on the computer, and now it's more about comprehension. So they're
Ah.
giving them open-ended questions, or they're asking them to give examples of a certain thing. So now you're having to actually understand what it is that you're learning, versus us when we were doing the paper, we were only having to memorize what we were reading. So you could ask me then, like, okay, well, what does this mean? I'd be like, well, I don't know. But through the computer now, it's a comprehension. So as far as the material that you're going to be teaching, try to gear towards more comprehension
Mm.
of the material than versus like memorization. You know what I'm saying?
And do you know like the first session that you kind of attended?
Hmm.
When was that? Was that years ago or like?
It was a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
And like, what happened in that session? Like, did you meet everybody there, or was you like a latecomer? You came at different times.
So what they do is they do classes. We do classes. We do like I was fall 22,
Okay.
and then you go into winter 23, and then you go summer 23, and now fall 23. So there's three classes
Yeah.
for 4 month periods,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I was a graduate of fall 22,
Yeah.
and then there's a couple of guys that are like summer 23 and that kind of thing. So what they do is they do a recruiting process, right? The application, the leadership academy, that kind of thing, and then they ask for a transfer request.
Okay.
So whenever they do a transfer request, that class that's going to start per se in July or June, July, August, right? So everybody will start showing up onto the unit like a month before
Okay.
that class starts. So whenever they come in, we got a transfer request. They'll come in, they'll come and talk to me. I mark them off. We do their intake paperwork, and we'll say, hey, you know what? We're gonna have an orientation, whatever it is, like in about a week, right? So that's like the initial stages of what it is. We get all their information, contact information, how long they've been gone, what their charges are, that kind of thing. And then while the class that's while the participants that are in the class will go through, and then after graduation, then we'll call the new arrivals in and we'll do an orientation. That's whenever we kind of meet everybody. Hey, they get them to stand up and hey, my name is Robert Gill. I'm from Amarillo, Texas. My favorite football team is Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
So you got to get up in front of the class. So just like a little, just kind of icebreaker, trying to, just break the shell a little bit. So that's how that all happens. Like so, but you're there together with like 100 or like it's like 80 individuals that are going to start
Okay.
that following that class that's coming up.
So there's like so. Okay, I thought it was like a small group of people, but there's 80 individuals
Yeah.
in one room,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys introduce yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
how long did that take?
You're there for like half a day.
Half a day introducing each other. And
Yeah, so like we'll sit down in rows.
yeah.
And there's a screen. We'll sit down in rows. Be like, hey, first row. Y'all circle around. Y'all introduce yourselves. Give them the microphone. Hey, my name is. So that kind of does that, and we'll have some videos to watch them, like just kind of like some motivational videos, video of some of the brothers that have been released. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look, this is. So we try to give them a vision, the end, at the beginning, so that way they can hopefully gain their own vision of like, hey, this is where I'm going, or this is where I can go, right? So we give them videos of like brothers that are here at the transitional house, like in suits and stuff like that. Like, hey, look, he was recently released. Now look at him, like 2-3 days later, he's in a business suit. Like, so this is he was sitting in the same seat I was. So we try to let them know, like, hey, look, everybody that's gone through this has been sitting in the chair that you're sitting in, but look where they're at now. You know what I'm saying? So envision the end in the beginning. You know what I mean?
And out of those like 80 people, like, do they all pass, or like, did some of them fail?
Yeah. So they either quit. A lot of them quit because in the initial stages we have what's called a heart check. So basically, another one of those things. It's just like, hey, we're gonna check your pulse. We're gonna see where you're at, right? Is this something that you really want? So we have what's called a study guide. We give it to every participant, new arrival that's there. We give it to them, and we just make them. Well, we don't make them. We ask you if you want to write from the front to the end. I think it's like 26 pages.
Okay.
And you write everything that's in that book from left to right, top to bottom.
So just like kind of copy and pasting.
Yeah, but you got to handwrite it.
Yeah.
So that's just another one of those things. It's kind of so I tell these guys we're somewhat like a fraternity, right? It's like a fraternity. So whenever you go and pledge for a fraternity, you got to go through like a pledge period. Like, hey, are you worthy to be a part of us, right? So that's something that we do. Like the organization don't have nothing to do with that. Like we just do that.
Or you guys just do it?
Yeah, we do that. So like so that we, okay. So you want to be a part of this, right? All right, that's cool. So copy this from front to back.
Oh, okay. So you guys, so PEP doesn't do that, but you guys just do it.
Well, it's a tradition for us to do it now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
It's called what's called a heart check. Yeah,
So cool.
yeah. So it's just another one of those things. Like I said, we're gonna see a lot of people don't finish that because it's
Yeah.
something like, hey, do you really want to do this? You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. So those guys will quit. Some of them won't do it. The initial phase, they'll quit, and then out of 80, probably about 40 to 45 will graduate, and the reason why they'll be either removed or quit is because they just want to continue like drug usage and those types of things where, well, they'll get caught, you know what I mean, and we'll hold them accountable. And so we'll tell the in-prison management, like, hey, look. So basically the structure is the in-prison manager, then you got peer educators,
Okay.
then you have servant leaders, and then you have department heads like business plan editors. You have the Toastmaster coordinators. You have Living in the Village, which is a financial literacy, and then you have computer lab tutors and that type of thing. So it's like it's structured.
So like there'll be a specific teacher for each like kind of topic. And like how many teachers did you have?
Just two. It usually takes two to facilitate
Okay.
each. So entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
it'll take two.
Okay.
Now they're doing executives that are going to teach that.
Yeah.
And then Living in the Village, two.
What does that mean by the way, living in a village?
Living in the Village is a financial literacy class that helps you kind of understand like we're not only in prison though. It's so like your FICO score, right? And what how is it that you obtain your FICO score? So like 35% of it is, I think it's like payment history, 30% is debt to credit ratio.
Okay.
So it helps you like, okay, so mortgage and what type of percentage, like what interest rates you should get on those, estate planning, um, and that kind of thing. And like a lot of just about credit, like how to build your credit, what to look for, credit cards, how to like boost your credit score with like secured credit cards and loans and so it helps you out a lot with whenever you're gonna go and like buy a car, buy a house,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah.
And I think someone told me there was 9 topics total. Was that correct? Or there was 9 topics?
In the entrepreneurship or in Living in the Village?
In
Entrepreneurship.
I think so.
Entrepreneurship is like 14 chapters. It's
Okay.
actually, so we get a certificate.
Oh wow.
I don't know if you're familiar with Baylor University.
No, but I'm
So
familiar with like certificates and
yeah,
universities.
yeah. So like it's the Hankheimer School of Business, and I believe it's the entrepreneurship book that they teach at this university, and so they teach us the same curriculum. So it's pretty. So there's like 14 chapters in that, and then the Living in the Village, I think there's like 13 chapters.
So are those the two like topics you learn? Or are
Yes. So business entrepreneurship, how to like basically not necessarily start up a business, but like the things that it takes to run a
the
business.
skills?
Right. So like marketing,
Yeah.
marketing strategies, finances, operations, and and like LLCs.
Oh yes, structures.
Right.
Business
Structures of business, the legalism behind it, and
Yeah.
like all the legalities and stuff. Yeah, it helps you do that as well. True North is another book, and it's like basically like a moral compass, like leader.
Okay.
So like, how do you lead? Do you lead with fear, iron fist type lead, or would you rather lead with respect and love? Like, who's gonna follow you more? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you gonna treat your employees if you actually do become a CEO of a business? Are you gonna just ride down on everybody like, no, you gotta do this, you gotta do that? Or would you encourage and you wanna be like, hey, a team player? You get what
Set an
yeah,
example.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's a lot about like moral leadership.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, yeah, like, where does the kind of characteristics part, like, where's the characteristics part?
Yeah, like the character development thing.
Yeah.
So the character development is a lot with that, the true north, and it's so we do it basically ourselves
Mm-hmm.
because we have rules that you gotta abide by, right?
Okay.
So as not only class participants but going into the servant leader is after you graduated.
Yeah.
You graduate and you become a servant leader, so then you serve the class that's coming behind you. So let's just say, for instance, if you entered into the room without your shirt untucked, right? So I would say, so look out, bro, we got tucked in your shirt. Like, okay, cool. Name badge, shirt tucked in, no cussing, and so those things. So we uphold the more so the character development of it. It's the people. That's why I say, like, who is it that you're gonna have in your program? You know what I mean? Like, you got to have individuals that are going to be able to uphold the integrity and the value of that program.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it has to be the community that's going to be able to do this. You know what I mean?
that makes sense.
And they got to be willing to do that, because I mean, if not, then let's just say, for instance, we live in dorms or pods.
Yeah.
So say, for instance, we have 96 people living in a dorm, 96, yeah. Right? Well, if you're a part of PEP and you're smoking or you're selling drugs, then that's not good for our community, right? So we're definitely gonna have to figure out what it is that you want to do. Like, either you want to stop, or I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? We need to have a conversation, and that's where the homework comes in. We do have something. We have something that's called homework, and that's how we do the check and balance, right? Okay. So that study guide, the 10 driving values.
Yeah.
We have what's called accountabilities. So it's the definition of accountability. It's the word accountability, and it's the definition. So let's just say if I caught you smoking, I'm gonna come up to you and be like, "Excuse me, bro. Hey, you need to give me homework. 250 accountabilities. And the reason why I'm giving it to you is because you know we're not supposed to be smoking." So you got to have individuals that are going to uphold that structure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how we hold each other accountable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. An accountability group and like.
Okay. So now, yeah, you're super on the right track, right? So we got in prison management, we have peer educators, we have servant leaders. That's in the office, in the class. Now, whenever we're living out in the dorms, we have pod coaches. Okay. And accountability group leaders. Okay. And we have to attend group meetings once a week. Oh. Yeah. So there's a structure, there's an accountability process. So if me and you we were watching TV.
Yeah.
And you change the TV on me.
Yeah.
Without asking, lack of consideration.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to approach you one on one. And if that still doesn't solve the issue, then I'm going to go to my accountability leader and I'm like, "Excuse me, bro, do you mind mediating a conversation with me and the other brother, because I feel like he could have went about doing some things a little different." After that doesn't work, then you go and you tell the pod coach and say, "Excuse me, bro, can we have a conversation? We all need to sit in. Bro's he's like he's not wanting to cooperate with me. I feel like he's being very disrespectful." We write incident reports of everything that took in place. The accountability leader does, and then if it still persists, then it comes to a peer educator. So that's the fourth process. And if it still persists, then you go to in-prison management, and then depending on the circumstance, they could get removed from the program. Like, hey, look, this is something that we're not going to deal with. We're not going to tolerate. There has to be a zero tolerance.
And then the word spreads, and they're like,
right,
you can't do that.
Yeah, and then so now we got to remove you from the program.
Okay. And like, when it comes to like learning the things that you learn, how did they make sure you applied it in your life? And like, how did, like you said, through tests, but is that like the only way? Like, how did they make sure you applied it?
So they have the business plan competition.
Okay.
Right. So when you initially get there,
Yeah.
when you get onto the unit and you go through the class portion of it, you have a big idea pitch event. Okay. So 80 of us, the executive volunteers, they go into the prison, and you have a 60-second elevator pitch. Hi, my name is Robert Gill. I'd like to bring a creative concept to light. In everyday society, we tend to hear or see a variety of different types of bars: liquor bar, tea bar, coffee bar, hookah bar, oxygen bar. But what we don't see is a variety, is something that we as a society, or better yet, human beings, need served on a day-to-day basis: water. Right? So I'd like to usher in a convenient, healthier, natural option of hydrating. Water fused with 100% organic fruits, vegetables, minerals, and vitamins for fresh fusion taste. Water with the one-of-a-kind experience for you and yours for generations to come.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's the idea, right? Yeah. So you want to create your problem, which is the opportunity. What is the solution to that problem? Who is it that you're going to be selling it to? And what makes you different? So in those 60 seconds, I actually left my customer out. But in those 60 seconds, so they have the big idea pitch event. And then from there, they get picked. They get voted on by peers and executives. So then like the following, like couple of days later, like after the weekend, they come back and we have the results in, and you become, whoever got picked, they'll become CEOs, right, of their idea. So everything that we're learning through the entrepreneurship, and then you get awarded, it's like a lottery, like a fantasy draft. You get awarded a CMO, a COO, and a CFO, right? So now you have a team of 4.
Oh, wow.
Right? So that's going to be your idea. So going through the class, as you're going through the chapters of learning how to operate a business, then you do workshops, right? And then your chief operating officer, y'all start writing down like, okay, how am I going to run this? How am I going to operate these day-to-day operations for my business? We do market research. We get them a little bit of research, like about the market, and try to, like, as far as like pricing goes, like in comparison with further financials. And I mean, basically it's their business ideas. So they're going to like, hey, this is how I'm going to run my business. So through the class, you're going through the entrepreneurship, and you're learning about a lot of things, different aspects about business. As they're learning the curriculum, they're generating pitches that they got to recite. So you got to write pitches, and at the end, at the business plan competition, going through the entrepreneurship and going through the workshops, you went from a 60-second elevator pitch to a full 9-minute business plan pitch with your CEO, your COO, your CMO, and your CFO.
Are they executives or are they other prisoners?
No, they're other prisoners.
Okay.
Yeah, they're other prisoners. Yeah. Okay. So now you build camaraderie, you build teamwork, naturally trying to see who it is that's going to be able to lead, right? So you build leadership skills, organizational skills, and now you're applying the curriculum into your actual business plan.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah. So everything that you're learning, you're actually projecting it out. Like, okay, so this is how I'm going to do this. Oh, you got to put it into play. My marketing strategies. How is it, guerrilla marketing, using any and all forms of like advertisement, radio, flyers, billboards, posters, whatever it is, right? And then you can, not only that, but you can establish like strategic alliances with different companies. I mean, for distribution purposes, for promotional purposes, for, HOA, homeowners association, like just different, like say for instance, a distillery, right? You're a water distillery.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a water business. I'm a water fusion bar.
Yeah.
So if I told you, say, hey, look out, bro. How about you give me a really good deal on your water? I'll buy water from you. I'll promote your water, but at the same time, you promote my business, right? So it's an alliance. You use me, I help you to help me,
Yeah.
and it's we work in tangent together. You know what I'm saying? So it's a like you learn about philanthropy, right? It's just like your vision and objectives of how it is that you're going to go about like executing this business, initial startup costs, um, and definitely learn a lot. So that's how you asked how is it that you use the curriculum and apply it when you apply it going through the business plan competition. That's how you learn. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to use. Okay, this is what I learned this week. This is how I'm going to use it in my business plan. And then we type it out. Every assignment, we have a business plan writing template.
Yeah.
So we have assignments that we issue out on a weekly basis. And at the end of those assignments, going through this business plan template, you would have, as a matter of fact, I have mine on my drive. Um, yeah, that'd be really cool for you to see. You have everything that you were going to do, and if you were to print it out and staple it, the idea is that you would be able to set it down. If you were an investor or a financial institution, I'd be able to sit it down in front of you and you would know exactly how it is that I wanted to run my business and how I was going to run my business and how much it was going to take to run my business. Yeah.
Like your knowledge about business just really blew me away. Like, well, how long did it take to learn all that?
Like 4 months.
Just like with partnership, like the partnerships area, that's something new to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that you just, wow.
Yeah, all the strategic alliances. Yeah. So yeah, it's real cool. Like so a lot of these guys like Uber Eats, DoorDash, stuff like that, right? Well, I don't know if they do or not, but I would think it would be a strategic alliance like with just fast food restaurants,
100%.
right? Because I mean they got to work in tangent together to be like, hey, check this out. I'm gonna give you a little piece of what it is that I make, and you come and you pick it up and you go and you sell it to my customers.
Definitely, like in the beginning, it was definitely them pitching the idea to them.
Right.
But now it's like a snowball effect where they just come to them. They're great partnerships like that.
Yeah. So not only that, but it's a great marketing tool, right?
Yeah.
So like now you have, if you had like a van, like you say for instance, like I said, if you were going to be a water distillery, right? You did a Culligan water. You know those 5 pound or 5 pound, the 5 gallon jugs. You know what I mean?
Big
Like
ones.
just to go get water, right? Okay, so it said Culligan, but if I were to, and you were all across like in the city, right? Manchester, you're all in the city. But if on the back it said Refusion, water fusion bar located at this place. So see now you're actually marketing for me. So that's the alliance. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but like let's just say for instance if I was at some type of venue, right? Like at a music venue or whatever, right? It would say Refusion, right? And then at the bottom or something, right? It would have like a QR code for your water. Like, hey, get an amazing discount here. You know what I'm saying? So you got a little QR code, clink. You know what I mean? So not only am I promoting my business, but I'm promoting your business as well. This is where I get my Refusion gets his water from over here. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go check it out.
Do you know your water business? Do you have a product right now?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was gonna say this should be your water.
Yeah.
I should be your water right now, not this
So
random company.
What gave me it kind of gave me the kid's mother. She used to drink aloe vera water.
Oh, that yeah.
So it had like little pieces of aloe, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So then I seen a commercial of like Hint water. Hint. I mean, it's like a water like what we're talking about.
Okay.
And so it has like little pieces of fruit in there. Okay. But see, it has a lot of additives and a lot of sugars, right? So I was like, okay, so then I'll take it organic. Not only that, but when it comes to startup costs, right? And production costs. That little bottle of water probably costs like 23 cents to make. Probably like 9 cents for the bottle. And then I don't know however much it takes for the water, right? But then they go and they sell it for like 250. So their profit margin on that is like, I don't know, 600-700%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, what could I, what kind of a business could I start that would take this much money to start, but I could gain this much money. You know what I'm saying? Just to be in business. So that's the reason why I did water.
Markups, like,
Yeah.
yeah. You remind me of 50 Cent, that's how you
Right.
buy me water.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But so yeah, man. Like I said, so the curriculum is really cool. It has different aspects to it. You know, obviously the entrepreneurship, and then the financial literacy part. Because let's face it. All right, so character development.
Yeah.
You can be super knowledgeable about anything, right? But if you're just not have the right attitude and you're very unapproachable, then who's gonna want to do business with you or anything with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so character development, and then where's I go with that? Like if you don't, you can accomplish these things, right? But accomplishment ain't nothing. Accomplishment is so in medical school, right? You go to medical school and you become a doctor. You get your PhD. But if you don't apply it and you don't go ever perform no type of surgeries or anything like that, then what is it good for?
Yeah.
Right? So that's the way it goes with business, right? So if you're not wanting, if people don't want to do business with you, and let's say that you do go and create a business and it is successful, but you don't know what to do with your money. So that's where the financial literacy comes in. Like, how is it that you're going to invest your money?
Yeah.
How is it that you're going to spend your money, right? And so PEP also has its own banking system.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Entree Capital. Yeah, so like if we come out, like right now, if I were to go and I would pitch and go and get a bank account, get my EIN number, right? So that's your business number, create the LLC, right? And all this is available for us. And I actually did start this, then if I needed a loan on any type of equipment, they would help me with that. And they have their own accountants. I don't know if you've met Courtney. Courtney is one of our accountants here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we get like 6 months free of accounting. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And then we get like a percentage off, or I think they only charge us like a very minute like charge for that. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like PEP and like the resources, super amazing. Super amazing. But it all starts with individuals wanting to do the right thing. That's why I say all of that, right? All of the business and everything it is that you got going on with business is super amazing. But if you're just not the right person to be around, period, then it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
You lose that purpose in life.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure. So that's why, like right now, whenever you told me, and then you told me how old you were, like, bro, I'm telling you, I can't, like, seriously, I can't stress enough how, like, admirable that is, bro. Because if I even remotely had if I directed the energy that you have right now whenever I was younger, that'd be awesome. But for you to do it at this age,
it gives you goosebumps, man.
Simply amazing, bro. Seriously, like, and to travel like to another country, you know what I'm saying? Like to take
not easy.
I know, like I mean, so definitely, bro. You definitely got it, like super huge heart, man, and that's amazing. Whenever you do things like this, right? You do things on purpose and for a purpose, bro. Everything,
Yeah, man.
everything will line up. You know what I'm saying? Divine orchestration. Things will open, bro. Because when we understand that it's not you sow what you reap, right? So hopefully you understand what it is that you're sowing right now. You know what I'm saying? Because you reap what you sow. Your time, your attention, your efforts. You know what I'm saying? All your energy, all your heart, and everything that you're investing in this, well, people are gonna want to invest in you back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know, like that's the thing. My like there were certain points in my life, like for example college, if I didn't truly believe in it 100%, and if I was just only doing it for the money, I didn't actually have that lived experience,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here right now. Like
Straight up.
I dropped out of college for this. Do you know what I mean? I know for a fact this will work.
Yeah.
And it's gonna work. And
Passion, bro. Passion.
yeah, like a lot of people can't do that because they're half-hearted, and that's what I mean. Like that characteristics and actually do something because you love it and you're passionate about it and
Yeah.
you're a good person. Other people work with you.
Yeah.
Like I sent an email to Josh. He saw like the passion in it. And
Yeah.
that's why he let me come.
Yeah. Josh is super cool, man.
Yeah.
Super good brother. So like, you're gonna run across a lot of individuals that they're gonna try to kick your feet from underneath you, right?
Yeah.
They're always gonna try to knock you down while you're trying to stand up on your own too, right? But I think that's what makes this work, is because even out of all the outside and negative energy that comes, let's just say for instance from my past life, right? Your past life, whatever it is, there's gonna always be some negative cats that are gonna be like, look, but what do you think you're doing? You know what I'm saying? Remember where you come from, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, man, you ain't about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But don't let that detour you, right? And you're leaning into what you need to right now. The energy. That's why you're here. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the way. For me, it was hard to be looked at doing the right thing. Does that make sense?
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Because like everybody out there, like, man, nah, you on that, you're on that goody two shoes type thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was different, right? It was different. But when you actually lean into it and say, hey, look, man, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I believe now. This is where I'm going. When you have that direction, there's gonna be at some point, bro, whenever everything was going against you, right? You're gonna surpass that point whenever everything is going for you. You do what I'm saying? Like, the momentum is just gonna shift. It's just like, and it's that. I think that's where I find myself now. It's just like, whoa, you know what I mean? But you gotta be passionate about it, man. You gotta have your heart in it, and that to come across. I mean, you came to a whole nother country, you know what I'm saying?
I came to a whole other country to speak to you.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So divine orchestration, brother. You know what I'm saying? When there's a will, there is a way. And whenever we understand that it's not our will, you know what I mean? And if we just live on purpose and for a purpose and know that purpose is not ours, but whenever we do it for the multitude, for the masses, bro, in the right way, bro, there ain't nothing can stop you.
One thing I want to like share with you is like back when I got arrested when I was 15, I was in handcuffs and stuff, and one of the police officers, she was a lady and she was being nice to me. She was like, oh, so do you not care about your future? What do you want to be when you're older? And I told her I want to be like an American businessman, because I used to watch a lot of American business shows and stuff. I love business through American shows. I told her I want to go to America, start a business, become a businessman in America. And then the guy that was with her just started laughing. I was like, you're definitely not going to America now. You've got a criminal record.
Now look.
Yeah, like I was there like, wow, like 14 years later now look. Like that's what I was thinking when I was in my hotel. I was like, damn, like I've come a long way, and there's so much more to like. I've not even climbed the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And about what you was telling me, you wish you had this kind of like direction when you're younger. Like I'll be real, like I got lucky. I got so lucky. A lot of my friends, they're doing sentences in third world countries because they got deported. You know what I mean? So, and mine was just pure luck, and that's why I should spread it, and that's why I just.
Yeah, so man, like your understanding, like your maturity and the understanding, right, is like I said, man, it's amazing, because it's like you call it luck, man, but I just call it, like I said, I mean, I'm very spiritual. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah.
So like in the long run,